Hi again guys, and welcome to another replay cast. Today we've got Blacknyte in the OHO, the tier 8 Japanese derp wagon on Siegfried Line, not Siegfried Line, this is Stalingrad, sorry. I've been watching another replay on Siegfried Line that someone had their first Radley Walters on, so that's where that came from. But yeah, here we have Blacknyte on Stalingrad. And, well, it's a derp gun. So he's going to be firing HE at everything. So he's platooned up with Yoakum there and Hobo in their premium tier 8 medium tanks. Hobo in the T-25 Pilot and Yoakum in the Lorraine. They're not really going to have particularly amazing matches. Blacknyte, on the other hand, he's going to get quite a nice result out of this, as we're going to see. Now, what is there to tell about the OHO? Well, you've got just over 200mm in effective frontal armor across here. I think a little bit more in these little bulges here, and about 215, 220 effective on the lower plate. Same here, and with these as well, as long as you're pointing forward. The little mini turrets are kind of weak spots, but they're still kind of weird. But they're pretty bad for the tank itself, because they restrict the gun depression over the front of the tank. But that's not going to matter here. And yes, he did just auto-aim on that enemy AMX 5100 and still hit him in the ass for over 900 damage. Which allowed the T-71 to kill him, but the enemy Lorraine has managed to kill the T-71. And that Cromwell's wishing he didn't go through that wall just then. As you can see, a big, dirty, great black mark on the turret of that Cromwell now. And that Cromwell's... he's going to take this personally. That Cromwell is not going to leave Blacknyte alone for the rest of this match. Second Cromwell there, trying to poke over the little pile of rubble there. And Blacknyte is going to show him what happens to people who try that. Yes, a one-shot. That's what happens to Cromwells who get just a bit too adventurous when there's a derp gun around. Meanwhile, team are winning 7-3. And, well, 7-4 now, the... Stuart Emilstead. That Jagdpanther though made a huge mistake. He probably still knew that Blacknyte was here. Still poked out anyway. And yep, the Cromwell, as you can see, bouncing off the back of Blacknyte's OHO. Which, by the way, is pretty much the same thickness as the front. And that Lorraine, who is firing full APCR, is probably regretting his life choices right about now. But that's something I've seen that's fairly common among Lorraine 40Ts that I've encountered. They do tend to fire pretty much nothing but premium ammo, and I don't know why, because the gun actually has good pen on its AP shells, and when you're top tier, there's really no need to fire premium rounds at all. But well, he's out of the match now anyway, so he's not really going to be causing any trouble for Blacknyte anymore. And now for this Emil one, and oh, meanwhile the Cromwell, who has just been killed by the SP-1C, was firing high explosive. Emil manages to get around the side of Blacknyte, puts a couple of shots in, takes out the ammo rack, which is then repaired, and then the gun. But now, well, it's all over, Mr. Emil. You're getting squished against this invisible wall and these buildings here, and there's your engine deck, and you're dead. And now it's just the T-44 left. This has been a really quick match, not even 5 minutes long. And, well, this is only going to end one way. If he's... yeah, why would you poke back out again, Mr. T-44? Because that's how you get set on fire. And there he goes. And that was a very, very quick match. That was not even 5 minutes. That gave Blacknyte an ace tanker, steel wall, and a high caliber for 6,028 damage, 5 kills. Base XP of 1,627. He fired 11 shots, only one of them missed. That was the one he tried to fire at the Cromwell through the building. Everything else hit. And he actually did 2 splash damage as well, out of the 6,028 damage that he did. He only took 4 hits that penned, but they were from fairly decent alpha guns, all from 300 to 320 alpha guns. So that does rack up quite quickly on pretty much any tank that you play in the game. So he did lose almost all of his hit points. He was only a 1 or 2 shot for things like the Lorraine or the Emile at the end there, but it turned out that that was not really a factor. He ended up making 57,472 credits with a standard account, spent 11,830 on repairing his tank, 7,200, I think it's 7,260. I am slightly colorblind to red, so that is what it is, sadly. He did use his repair kit, so that was an extra 3,000 credits used there, and total profit of 35,382 after all those costs added up. Yeah, his base XP of 1,627 was boosted by 814 for personal reserves and an extra 163 for playing in a platoon. So he ended up with a total of 2,604 XP. This was not a double as well, and that's with a standard account, which is pretty nice for just a normal game. Especially such a quick one such as this, and I'm pretty sure he's really happy with that result. And that just shows you what a derp gun can do in a city map, especially when it's got plenty of armor like the OHO does. And even more so when it's top tier. This tank, and in fact even more so the Type 4 and Type 5 heavies, when they're in maps such as this, they absolutely dominate. And, well, basically any slightly confined space they dominate, because, well, it's difficult for tanks to get around the side of them, which is their only weak spot, really. Well, only true weak spot for the Type 4 and Type 5. The OHO does have the mini turrets, so does the ONI. But yeah, we can see just how well this works. When you've got the space to turn, well, enough space to turn around, but not enough for enemies to circle you. And we can see what happened to the Emile there when you get a chance to squish them up in a corner. Which is a pretty viable tactic if it's just one tank that you're having to deal with. Or if it's just one tank and maybe, if like the OHO, you've got a tank where the armor on the rear is the same as on the front, then tanks that don't have guns that can pen that, well, they're not going to have a good time, as you saw with the T-44 there, who was quite obviously running the 85mm gun. So that means he was fairly stock and was trying to grind through that tank. So feels bad, man, for the T-44, but it did mean that we got quite the tidy result for Blacknyte there. Anyway guys, that's all from me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.